Hello and welcome back to Drunk on Games. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing video for Legacy of Dragonholt. My favorite part. Ripping things. I like it better when the plastic goes everywhere though. So, the Legacy of Dragonholt here is made by Fantasy Flight Games. It is a cooperative storytelling game. Many people explain like a choose-your-own-adventure game. So, in the Legacy of Dragonholt, we are going to be playing what's explained as their Oracle system. So it's like a choose-your-own-adventure. There's 6 different supplemental booklets. In each, you're going to be doing, well, a story. So each bit of the story, though, you'll read a section, and then you'll be presented with choices that you guys can make. And they will depend on your character's skills, how you choose to interact, if you've interacted before in different ways. So they will actually be keeping track of various pieces of information and character developments that go on throughout the game, and that will come up later on as you continue through everything. So there's 6 of these supplemental guides, as well as one very massive over 200-page town book. So Dragonholt is the actual city that you get to at the end of New Roads. And Dragonholt is amazing. It is full of all kinds of wondrous good stuff that I know nothing about really, but I've read up and I'm excited for how that's going to work. So once we get to the town, of course, we're going to get our major plot point. This letter was left for us, and it explains some things going on in that town that we need to uncover and learn about. Something I'm very excited about with the game is first off, it plays up to 6 players, which is very great, but once you have created your characters and get going, everyone has these activation tokens. So as I said, based on your characters, you'll have different skills and things and can be involved and interact in each of these choices. However, if you personally are the character that makes one of those choices, then your activation token goes face down. And for the rest of, well, until everybody has used their token, you can no longer be the person to make that decision, to be the one whose skill was used or anything. So let's say, for example, you are a thief with the ability to sneak around. So if you have already attacked an enemy, then your activation token will go face down. Now everybody else has to be involved or use their activation token before yours comes back up for you to use it again. So now if before that happens, the story ends up at a point where you need to sneak around, you can't be the player to do it. So even though you have the skill, and therefore the party has the ability, they can't use it because you've already used your activation token. And until it's back face up, it won't matter. So deciding when to use different skill sets and abilities is very, very important. Speaking of which, creating your character is this big old book. So many of you have probably played something akin to a tabletop RPG, D&D, Pathfinder, one of the many. This book will look kind of familiar. They've boiled it down. You're going to go through and pick your race, whether it be human, orc, dwarf, there's a couple of different races through here. And of course, your job class. Choosing your class. They've got apothecary, bards, a brawler, a knight, as we said, thief, many, many of them. Each of which come with their own specialty skills. So as you'll see in the back here, we've got our character sheet, and you have rooms for your different skills. And you'll pick a bare minimum of, I believe it's 4, so 2 from your job and 2 from your race. As well as you can keep picking more from that list, but each one you pick further is going to reduce your stamina, which I don't really know what that's used for, but I can only imagine the more you have, the better off you are. You'll also, throughout the game, collect some items. So there are a bunch of lettered item cards here. I'm not going to open it up and spoil it for you, but I'll show you the back of them at least. But there's a bunch of lettered item cards here that you can collect along the way. And once again, as many choose your own adventure style games here, these will be referred to later on. Let's say you've picked up a magic crystal and it's one of these item cards. Well, maybe further down the line, while you're making a choice for a different part of the story, they'll ask for that magic crystal. And one of the options will only be available if you have it. Now, of course, one of the key points to this Oracle system is that they will be keeping track of these story points, as they call them. So the story points, they got the letters all the way from A to Z and 1 through 8 of each. But randomly, they're not in order, but randomly throughout the game, as you do things, the choice might say, if you choose this, mark off, F1 and Q3. And we mark those things off. And then later on, again, if you have them marked off, you'll be able to pick different plot points. So maybe meeting the town maid, or the town bard, mark something off in here, and later on you'll be in a conversation with somebody, and they'll refer to the town bard, and because you know them, now that conversation can go a whole different path. So the exciting thing about this game is, like I said, there are 6 different supplemental books, as well as the massive town book. And you're going to be spending a lot of time going through each of these. In fact, for the main plot point, you might actually get through the whole game without having seen everything. So this game has a lot of replayability, a lot of ways for you to come back around, make different choices. The conversations can lead differently, or your skills are different, so you'll have a complete different way to deal with it. One of the other interesting things is when you're in town, they track time. So you only have so much time to do things, and depending on what time of day, different choices might even be there. For example, you're going to end up, where is the town map, of course. Now, of course, you're going to end up in town. Now, town has all these different places you can go. There is the library, there's the dragon statue, the bakery, the art, all kinds of different places you can go. And as I was pointing out, each of them has a different number that you can go and read through. But maybe you need to go, like, let's say, visit the blacksmith. Well, you know the blacksmith works certain hours, so depending on the time of day, you might want to go visit the blacksmith earlier or later, find him when he's busy working, or find him later in the pub. It can matter very dramatically. And some of the actions that you'll do and the choices you'll make will tell you to mark that time has continued onwards. Or will say, if you're here, and the time of day is 2 or less, then go to this passage instead of that passage. So not only is this a crazy big old world with all kinds of things to uncover, but there's just multitudes and multitudes of choices. A lot of the, people keep comparing this to like a choose your own adventure book, and if you've ever read one of them, usually you're given a choice with maybe like 3 things to do. But if you look through in here, 3 is probably the minimum. Yeah, 3 is the minimum. You'll find things with 3 choices. You'll find things with 6 choices, with multiple choices, some of them relating to your skills, some of them relating to your items, some of them relating to the time of day. So many different ways that can work. So we're excited to actually play through the Legacy of Dragonholt. I have no idea how we are actually going to film this, because it's not like a typical Legacy game that has, play game 1, play game 2. It's a big old story, and we want to share it with you guys. So make sure you tune in, hit that subscribe button, and look forward to us playing through Legacy of Dragonholt.